This is the Yankees POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the New York Yankees. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
All right, it wasn't a pretty start, but it turned out to be a pretty successful night for the Yankees. First off, they beat the Rays 7-5, so that's a good bounce back win. Secondly, the Toronto Blue Jays had a rough day. They played 2 against the Orioles in Baltimore, and the O's won both of those games. So again, Yanks beat the Rays 7-5 and pick up a game and a half in the standings on the Blue Jays. Because of it all, the Yanks now trail Toronto by just 4 games in the American League East. As we said, all in all, a pretty successful night for the Yankees. Hello, everybody. I'm Jay Berman. If you're a New Yorker, you might recognize my work. I've spent more than 2 decades in the biz, everything from TV to web to radio. Glad to have you aboard. Please follow me on X as well, at Jay Berman, Jayberman. Welcome to the Locked On Yankees postcast, both on the Locked On Yankees YouTube channel and the Locked On Yankees podcast feed. The postcast gives you a place to chat after every game. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Without further ado, we're off.
This is what you'll be talking about.
All right, as we told you late last night, after another Yankee loss to an AL East opponent, the Yanks entered play today, having lost 19 of 30 against the AL East this season. Just a terrible stretch of baseball for some reason against 4 teams. Regardless, Yanks back on the winning track tonight as they win it 7-5. We'll get into it. Obviously, lot to discuss with Anthony Volpe. Cody Bellinger, a huge home run. It really feels like that changed everything, that home run. It was 3-0 Rays, this into the bottom of the 3rd inning. And the Yankees, off a terrible loss last night, no Judge, Max Fried struggling early, just felt like it had another nasty night written all over it. Until Cody Bellinger hits that laser of a home run, a huge, huge home run for the Yankees. Not necessarily a season saver because the Yankees are still firmly in a position to make the playoffs. However, if they have recipes or any designs on winning the division, this could help. Really felt like a big, big win. For Bellinger, his 20th home run of the season. Again, a huge 3-run shot that turned a 3-0 game into 3-3. And then the very next inning for the Yankees, they played 3 more in the bottom of the 4th. And just like that, it's 6-3. Considering where we started, it was 3-0 after 2.5 with Max Fried struggling at a high pitch count. Well, kudos to everyone for settling it down. And a big reason why they settled it down, obviously, was the Cody Bellinger home run. Now, as for Max Fried, very interesting night for him. It started off slowly, obviously allowed 2 runs in the top of the 1st, yet another bad Anthony Volpe error. The second batter of the game, in fact, tried to flip to Jazz for the start of a double play. He didn't get it to Jazz. In fact, Jazz couldn't even touch it. So what happens? There's now 1st and 2nd, nobody out. Rays are in a rally, and the boos are coming down, just like they did last night. So another night of boos for Anthony Volpe. Just wait. There's more. That error, the first of the night for Volpe, his 14th, tied for the most in baseball. Now, more importantly, it forced Fried to throw 26 pitches in the 1st inning. Now, if we fast forward all the way to the end of his stint, into the 7th inning with 2 outs and a career-high 111 pitches thrown, Fried could not get out of the inning. Point being, with the double play in the 1st inning, Fried might go the entire night. It was that kind of error for Volpe. Now, the low throw in the 9th inning, amazingly, from Volpe could not be corralled by Paul Goldschmidt at first. That was another error. His 15th, now tied with Ellie De La Cruz for the most in baseball. The most in baseball, folks. He's already made 15 errors. We still have 60 games to go. Regardless, Volpe, believe it or not, answered the call with his bat on two separate occasions. One, to give the Yankees a lead on a bloop RBI single. That made it 4-3. And then the home run of the game, the longest of his career, 452 feet to the opposite field. An absolute bomb of a home run for Volpe. Obviously, that's going to get the crowd going. They enjoyed that. That was prior to the second error. Regardless, that was some insurance the Yankees certainly needed, especially in that ninth inning when there were tying runs all over the base paths. So, as we mentioned, Fried, 111 pitches. That's a career high. Coming into tonight, his last four starts, Fried had an ERA of nearly 7. And, of course, it got off to a bad start tonight. However, those 2 runs in the first inning were unearned because of the Volpe error. Now, that being said, after the Aranda home run to lead off the third inning, Fried would retire 14 consecutive Rays in a row. So, after a rough start, kudos to Fried for settling down. His final line, 6 2/3, 4 runs, 2 earned, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts. And again, a career high 111 pitches thrown. Now, again, we told you about the 26-pitch first inning, which definitely contributed to the fact that he couldn't get through the 7th. That being said, at 97 pitches after 6, I was shocked to see Fried in there for the 7th. Considering, 1, he's been struggling of late. 2, he had the blister. And 3, he's never thrown that many pitches in his life. So again, surprised to see him throw the 7th. And once he recorded the first 2 outs, and then there was another runner on base after another extra base hit. Well, at that point, Boone had to pull the trigger and take Fried out. Regardless, Loizaga did the job. An inning and a third, 2 hits, no runs, only threw 11 pitches, getting those 4 outs. So kudos to him. Now, as for Devin Williams, of course, there was the Volpe error in the 9th inning. Despite that, it's an earned run allowed by Williams. He threw 25 pitches, which for all intents and purposes knocks him out of tomorrow's game. Regardless, you wanted to get the job done, and the tying run was at the dish when the game ended. So again, 7-5 the final score. Williams earns the save despite the rocky 9th. Fried earns the win. He's 12-4. The save for Williams is 17th. And again, excellent work by Fried considering the start of the game. 14 consecutive retired batters in a row, which is pretty good. And it didn't seem like the blister or any lasting effects of the blister bothered him in any way. So that is obviously good news. As for the offense, Trent Grisham took an 0-for. Ben Rice took an 0-for. Jazz Chisholm was 0-for-4 with 3 strikeouts. Lucky to avoid the golden sombrero. Just a lazy ground ball in his 4th at bat. By the way, the only reason I bring it up is because Jazz's average plummeting. He's now down to 245. Now, Jason Dominguez, 2 more hits. He's hitting 262. Ryan McMahon took an 0-for, 2 more strikeouts. Folks, you better get used to it. It is a pure numbers game here. Led the National League in strikeouts, did McMahon, and he's going to strike out a lot. Struck out 2 more times tonight. As for Volpe, what a whirlwind of a night for him. The 2 errors, they bookend the huge home run and the huge RBI single. Volpe goes 2-for-4, scores twice, drives into, ups his average to 216. That's how bad it's been. Austin Wells did score twice, but took an 0-for. He's 0-for-3 and now batting 211. Again, 7-5 the final score. Yanks are 58-49, 32-22 at home. More importantly, as we said, The Blue Jays are suddenly in a tailspin. They've dropped 4 in a row and got swept in a doubleheader today. They entered the day 5.5 in front of the Yankees. It's down to 4 with one fell swoop. Just like that, Yanks are down to just 4 games back of the Blue Jays in the American League East. All right, Luis Gil made what we're hoping, knock on wood, is his final rehab assignment tonight. We'll tell you how it went on the other side. All right, today's episode is brought to you by Game Day Hue. For Yankee fans, this one hits the mark. Game Day Hue makes clean, no-logo gear with team-inspired colorways for every pro and college fan base. It's all about letting your colors speak for you. No giant logos, just smart, versatile style that works on game day, on the golf course, or anywhere in between. I love rocking it on the golf course. It's subtle, stylish, and I can still rep my team. Plus, I've worn it to tailgates, tee times, and just out running errands, and I always get compliments. And it's not just hats. How about their split shade gloves made for the golf course, or the perfect gift for the man who has everything? Right now, you can get 15% off with code MLB15 at GameDayHue.com. That's GameDayHue, HUE.com. The code even stacks on bundle deals, so now's the time to load up. Let your colors talk, because colors speak louder than words. That's GameDayHue.com, code MLB15. All right, here we go.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
This is not an exact science, folks, but that Bellinger home run felt like it changed a lot. As we said, Yanks have firmly been in a position to make a playoff spot really all season long. That's never been in doubt. But things have been so up and down of late, and down specifically coming into that third inning. The home run by Bellinger changed the entire complexion of the game. Game ball to Cody Bellinger. His 20th home run, an absolute laser into the right field seats. And Bellinger very quietly is having a primo season. He goes 1 for 3 tonight with the 3-run shot. He's hitting .282, has 20 home runs, and now 61 RBIs. Now, how do you spell Aaron Judge? You don't. It's impossible to spell the best player in baseball. The next best thing is have a guy like Cody Bellinger right in the heart of the lineup that can take some of the pressure off the other guys. His presence, his numbers, his bat have all been excellent. And it's time to give kudos to Cody Bellinger, who, again, probably hit the biggest home run of the season so far for the Yankees. Turned a 3-0 game into 3-3. 20 minutes later, it was 6-3 Yankees, and they were well on their way. All right, Luis Gil, hopefully his final rehab assignment, 4 1/3, 3 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 7 Ks through 75 pitches. And again, he's lined up to throw in Miami, which would be Sunday afternoon, again in Miami, assuming he doesn't need another rehab start. But again, the numbers on Gil: 4 1/3, 3 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 7 Ks through exactly 75 pitches. We knew he would. It was going to get to 75, and then that was it. So again, interesting times. We could have Luis Gil back before you know it. Meanwhile, same could be said for Mark Leiter Jr., scheduled to throw live batting practice on Thursday, so in about 48 hours. He'd then have a minor league rehab game over the weekend, which means the Yanks hope to activate him sometime during that Texas series. Remember, 2 more with Tampa Wednesday and Thursday, 3 in Miami, 3 in Texas before returning home for Houston and Minnesota. So again, no break in the schedule whatsoever. Don't let the Marlins fool you. That's not a terrible team. Texas is right there in the hunt for a playoff spot. And obviously Tampa, 2 more games before we hit the road. So again, interesting times for the Yankees. The schedule's brutal, but again, a huge comeback win and they pick up a game and a half in the standings, which is very rare in one day. As we said, they now trail the Blue Jays, who lost to the Orioles twice today, by 4 games in the AL East. All right, as for the probables for tomorrow, it's a prime game. Warren and Littell. On Thursday is Stroman and Pepio. And then, as we said, off to Miami for 3, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Texas for 3, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, before the following week they return home for Houston and Minnesota. All right, thanks for making Locked On Yankees your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Also want to mention our partners in crime at Locked On Yankees, Stacey Getsoulias and Brian McKeon. They handle all the stuff there. So again, follow, subscribe, and enjoy. As we said, what a bounce back win for the Yankees, who turned a terrible season against the AL East, at least for one night, into a smile. Again, 7-5, the final score. Yanks now 4 back of the Blue Jays. Game 3 of 4. Remember, that's a prime game tomorrow night. And remember, yours truly will be with you immediately following the game. Have a great night.